Good afternoon. I see David's already busy commenting. Welcome to your daily dose of salt and light with myself, Nadine Ness. I'm going to talk a little bit about a few things. First thing with it's going to be a short episode today. I'm late starting for two reasons. I could smell something burning in the house and I couldn't figure out where. We have a defective pump. I've unplugged it. We're good, but it took me a while to figure it out. It was just a pump that was overheating, and but it took me a while because I could smell it upstairs. And also, I don't know if you guys remember when I went to Washington D.C. last week. It was the following day after that big plane crash that happened in Ontario, in Toronto, and a bunch of flights were canceled. Anyways, I was just talking on the phone with Air Canada. Finally, I was able to contact the call center. Now they have an option to call you back. And it just so happened they called me back right when I was like in the middle of getting ready for the show. So I'm hoping I'll get a full refund because I had to book another flight with WestJet like the morning of. So it was crazy expensive. I'm just going to fix my glasses. I'm noticing they're a bit dirty. So it just so happened they called me back just before. I'm glad it wasn't during the show, but yeah, so it kind of delayed things a bit. And that's why I don't have a whole lot to cover today. I don't have a guess. I'm just going to cover a little bit what's happening with Trump endorsing, sort of, not really, but kind of, Carney, Mark Carney, and just the what Pierre is saying. And David, you commented on while we were waiting, you commented that the 338 is reporting Mark Carney getting a majority government. So I'm just going to go through that as well with you guys. So Rage is in the Rage in the Cage is back. He says, hello, folks from Alberta. I am going to cover a bit of Alberta. There's a few really good videos that I saw Danielle Smith did. So I've got that ready to go. And it's not looking good for Canada. If I'm honest, guys, it's really not looking good. But I think it's going to be pushing more towards Western alienation and separation, especially if he wins a majority government. I think we're going to see our oil and gas industry completely under attack and our way of life in the West completely under attack. So, but yeah, let's start with Trump's endorsement or kind of what it looks like. There's a longer interview that he did with Laura. Oh, who was interviewing him? Laura Ingraham? Yeah, Ingraham Angle. So give me a sec. I'm going to share the screen. Hopefully the sound's going to work. And let me know where you're watching from too. What platform, Facebook, like and share, whatever button it is that is available. Here you go. I just got to switch it up. I don't have to pick up my son today, but I have someone coming over. A friend of mine's coming over this afternoon with her baby. Alvi is watching from Yorkton. Tamara's watching. Tamara Litch. Hey, Tamara. I was actually thinking about you this morning. You should come on my show. I'm going to message you after this. So, hero, Tamara Litch. David is watching from BC. Wayne says, if Carney gets a majority, people are totally brain dead. I can't help but agree at this point. I don't know. Well, the thing is, they just don't see it, right? The media is hiding who he is. Rage in a Cage. I think you're in Alberta, right? I'll just show. Yeah, there's a lot of you guys. It's mostly on YouTube, a little bit on Facebook, but most of the comments I always get is on YouTube. Okay, let's watch this.
Isn't that going to make them more hostile to us and possibly
I'd rather deal with a liberal than a
for China closer to Canada, and that would really put us in a bind.
The conservative that's running is stupidly no friend of mine. I don't know him, but he said negative things. So When he says negative things, I couldn't care less. I think it's easier to deal actually with a liberal.
Isn't that going to make them more hostile to us? And
I haven't watched the entire interview. Can you guys hear the baby crying in the background? I might have to go see if he's okay. But here's another video that Pierre played here. Give me a second. I'm just going to see if I can find it. It's 25 seconds. I'm going to play it for you guys. I'm going to disappear from the screen quickly, and I'm just going to go make sure that kids are good. Oh, it stopped now. Here, he's so tired right now. Let's see.
I think what President Trump wants, he wants several things. He wants good, high-paying jobs in America. He wants more investment in America. He wants repatriation of many American industries and firms to the United States.
I think it's easier to deal actually with a liberal.
So these were posts. I'm going to show you guys the posts. Give me a second. There you go. Pierre said, Pierre Carney sold out Canadian jobs, investment, and energy production when he was the chair of a multi-billion-dollar company. How can you trust him to stand for Canada now? If Carney wins, Canada loses. It's interesting to see just the approach. This one was it yesterday? Yeah, yesterday. Last night, President Donald Trump endorsed Mark Carney. Why? Because as Trump said, he's easier to deal with and knows that I will be a tough negotiator and always put Canada first. Carney's weak and would cave to Trump's demand, just like he did when he moved his company headquarters from Canada to New York City. Canadians don't want a weak and conflicted leader. They want a strong prime minister who will put Canada first. I don't know if it was like a full-blown endorsement. Definitely saying that Carney is weaker, I think, than Pierre when it comes to negotiating. But it's interesting. What do you guys think? What do you think is Trump's motive for saying that? Let's see what else I got. There's another news. A lot of people are saying, I don't know the legitimacy of this, but a lot of people are saying, and there's a lot of things that kind of go in line with it as well, that Mark Carney is supposed to call an election this Sunday. Canadians will finally get to cast their vote and choose a new prime minister. Are you ready for this? I think they're going to try to do it as fast as they can, because Cat Canada was saying the same thing. Sorry, I've got too many thoughts at once. I think he's going to do it as soon as he can, because that they're more likely to have favorable momentum right now than if they wait a lot longer. So the same way, kind of when Kamala was first picked, the momentum was super high as they started learning a lot more about Kamala, and she started not answering questions or answering them in verbal diarrhea, then her numbers went down. I think they're going to try to take advantage of this and do it as fast as they can. Now, the question is Pierre going to be able to expose Mark Carney and his agenda before Canadians go to the booth, the voting booth? That's the question. Are they going to do a good job? And I think they need to up their game and put out way more information. I think they need to expose how extreme Mark Carney is so that Canadians know exactly what that's going to look like for the future of Canada. And not only that, I think provincial leaders like Saskatchewan and Alberta need to expose the agenda that Carney's been pushing as well, because if Carney gets in, that's going to negatively affect Canada. It's going to negatively affect Saskatchewan and Alberta the most. And especially if his net zero plan is still going ahead and he's going to try to go after the oil and gas. So I do foresee that being an issue that's going to be a huge problem. And I think they need to take advantage of this opportunity to also raise awareness of what these policies will do to our province. I don't know if they will, but I think it would be a good plan to go in that direction right now. But yeah, Canada also said the same thing. Carney to dissolve parliament on Sunday, election on the horizon. Do you think he has a real chance to get in, or are Canadians finally ready for change? So it was on CBC News. April 28th or May 5th. They're I'm gonna pull up the polls, the 338 polls. Give me a second. Because David was talking about it in the comments. This is what the latest projections are. Liberals winning 178 seats, CPC 130. If you know, I talked about this on the, oh, you guys can't see the whole thing. Give me a second. I gotta fix that. There you go. It's funny because provincial. I'd like to see the one that has all of the polling so that we can see. Oh, here it is. Who did the last one? %61% chance that it's going to be an LPC majority, 28% LPC plurality. CPC majority is polled at 1% chance. Brenda says, I don't have a lot of faith in the polls these days. I agree. We had the pollster in here, Mark Mitchell, last week. I'm just going to switch this. Mark Mitchell, was it last week or 2 weeks ago? He talked about polling. They did similar things in the US as well, where they were showing Kamala Harris winning by, like, almost all the polls were showing Kamala Harris winning. And yes, I agree. Rage in the Cage says Pierre Poilievre needs to go full conservative. People want to change in a liberal light is confusing for simple thought voters in the East, especially. I agree, but they're not learning. This is what happened with O'Toole. This is what happened with Scheer. They think if they go liberal light or more left, that people are going to vote for them. The thing is, people vote for a difference. And if it doesn't look different, they're just going to vote the way they always have, which will be liberal. Until they actually become full conservatives, I think we're going to see this happen. But I want to talk about this conversation that I had with Cameron Davis, who's heading the Republican Party of Alberta. He's a part of it, anyways. One of the key peoples in there. And when I was in Washington at CPAC, we ran into each other the first night, and we were having a conversation. He said that Mark Carney is going to win, and that Western alienation is going to go up, and it's going to go towards the direction of separating Alberta and Saskatchewan. And I didn't believe him at first. I'm like, no, it's not. There's no way. Not with the lead Pierre has, not with how much damage the Liberals have done. Like, the thing is, gosh, people, it's not Justin Trudeau that made all of the decisions in Canada in the last 10 years. It's every single Liberal MP who has ran the country. So you replace one of them, every single other one are still the same ones who are going to make the exact same decisions. Yeah, I'm going to go over a few comments here. I got to fix the screen. David says Canada will be done. What will Team Canada think 1 year down the road, all because of TDS, had nothing to do with Canada, blinded? Yes, he needs to let people see what he stands for. I think I said that already. Carney is being exposed for who he is. I believe he'll be done before any votes happen. What do you mean by that? Like kicked out? You have more hope in Canadians than I do. I honestly think that people are so brainwashed, like so beyond brainwashed, that it's all going to depend which direction media is going to go. That's what I think. But I might not know all the answers. I also didn't think for a second that Carney was going to gain the momentum that he's gained. I'm like, how do they not see it? But they don't. Firecracker says Danielle Smith is doing something to prevent Carney's net zero agenda from ruining Alberta. She is, and I have it up on the screen here. Let's share that. Oh, yeah, we'll share that. Where did it go? Here it is.
Build
2-minute video.
We're announcing.
I don't think that Danielle Smith wanted to go the way of separation, but I think the sentiment's building so much right now that I don't think she's going to get a choice. I think people in the province are going to want to go in that direction.
We're announcing that government will introduce amendments to the Critical Infrastructure Defence Act to protect essential infrastructure, which in turn protects Alberta's economy and its people. Some amendments are focused on the southern border. Earlier this year, we created a 2-kilometer deep zone in Alberta's side of the Canada-US border and deployed the interdiction patrol team to secure it. Now we're moving that zone into the Critical Infrastructure Defence Act, so the definition of essential infrastructure is listed in one place. Alone, this would be just a bit of legislative housekeeping, but the amendments don't stop there. They also designate oil and gas production sites and facilities where emissions data and records are held as essential infrastructure. This amendment to the Critical Infrastructure Defence Act provides an extra tool to safeguard essential infrastructure from interference, and that includes interference from Ottawa. I would certainly hope that the new Prime Minister has taken the time to read our Constitution, and I would direct him to pay specific attention to Section 92A, which gives the province, not the federal government, the exclusive jurisdiction over non-renewable natural resource development. Alberta will continue in its pursuit of doubling our oil and gas production to meet the growing global demand for energy, and we will not let Ottawa stand in our way. We will not tolerate the continuous unconstitutional overreaches made by the federal Liberal government. Measures like the emissions cap, the net zero electricity regs, the net zero electric vehicle mandate, and the energy industry advertising ban must be stopped now. And make no mistake, Alberta will do whatever it takes to shield our economy from the Liberals' growth-killing lunacy. These amendments we're introducing today would include denying federal workers access to our facilities and the information they contain. I will continue to fiercely and unapologetically stand up for Albertans and defend the best interest of our province, our economy, and our industry. This ongoing tariff dispute has proven now more than ever that Canada must build big and build fast to reach new global markets for export. Canadians and politicians from across the country are calling for new pipelines to be built, east, west, and north, to secure our future and end our reliance upon our southern trading partner. However, if the new Prime Minister wants to resume an old fight, well, we'll fight tooth and nail. Because if we can't make these decisions and build, then it's so obvious, when it's so obviously in the national interest, then what kind of an economic future does Canada have? Today's amendments are a warning, but they're also an invitation to Ottawa. Let's talk. Let's rise to the occasion. Let's use Canada's riches to protect our nation.
I'm glad they're putting things in place. There's a few things I have here about the Liberal government. This is one. Evan Solomon is running to be a Liberal MP. This was from 10 years ago when he was fired from CBC for allegedly brokering art deals with individuals, including Mark Carney. It's all in this report. He also worked for the Eurasia Group in G0, where Mark Carney's wife works. They're all in this together. I'm going to play that video right now.
Evan Solomon is gone from the CBC. The former host of Power and Politics on this network, CBC News Network, and The House on CBC Radio, was fired last night after a report alleging he brokered art deals with people with whom he was involved as a journalist. James Murray leads off our coverage now live with me this morning. James, tell us more about the allegations at issue here.
Well, allegations that were first raised by Toronto Star investigative journalist Kevin Donlan, who said that after an investigation into Evan's private business affairs away from the CBC, that they had uncovered a sort of secret sideline in art dealership. Apparently, Evan Solomon had a long-standing relationship with a man who most Canadians would never have heard of, but is very well known in world art circles as an art collector, and it seems someone who is trying to unload some of his paintings. It seems a deal was struck for a commission, a 10% commission that was done in secret. If Evan Solomon, it seems, could introduce this art collector to some famous and influential people like Jim Balsillie, formerly of Research in Motion and BlackBerry, and Mark Carney, who was the governor of the Bank of Canada, now the governor of the Bank of England. Apparently, much of this went on.
There's no sound? Is that for everyone? Here, we'll just try again. I had the sound earlier. David says there's sound here. Okay, here, let's just keep playing.
Without the CBC knowing anything about it until recently, it seems. We're hearing that that the CBC only recently found out about this. Kevin Donovan and the Toronto Star came to the CBC this week with very specific allegations, and it only took about a day and a half before Evan Solomon was suspended and then let go from the CBC.
And in response to that shock firing last night, James, what kind of reaction are we hearing today?
Well, none of the people involved, Heather, despite many of them making their living doing broadcast interviews, are willing to do broadcast interviews today. The CBC has only issued a written statement. There was a statement yesterday that was emailed to employees from our editor-in-chief for public notice. Chuck Thompson, our head of our CBC Media Relations, issued this written statement saying, based on information that's come to our attention, we've determined that some of Evan Solomon's activities were inconsistent with our conflict of interest and ethics policy, as well as our journalistic standards and practices. That's a written statement that was released from Chuck Thompson, the head of our CBC Media Relations. Evan Solomon, again, somebody who made his living the past 20 years doing broadcast interviews, apparently not giving them today, but has issued a written statement through a law firm saying, I did not view the art business as a conflict with my political journalism at the CBC and never intentionally used my position at the CBC to promote the business. I'm deeply sorry for the damage that my activities have done to the trust the CBC and its viewers and listeners have put in me. And he also writes that he has the utmost respect for the CBC and what it stands for. Mark Carney also giving a statement. He seems to have been caught up in all of this. Through the Bank of England, there was a statement released today saying that he has no ongoing or enduring relationship with Evan Solomon, and that he does not comment on his own private affairs. Well, it is private affairs that has certainly gotten Evan Solomon's public job here at the CBC into jeopardy. He's gone from essentially having his face on the building to have.
Interesting. Funny, doesn't have anything to do with Evan, but yet Evan joins Eurasia Group. Now, I'm going to talk about that. I have a post here. Where did it go? That covers it. Oh, here it is. Give me a sec. This is David Jacob posted this. Can you guys see it okay? Yeah. What is the Eurasia Group and how will it impact Canada's economic future? Let's take a conspiracy theory-free dive into the topic. You know what's funny? He says conspiracy-free dive into the topic, yet we all know that they're going to accuse him of pushing a conspiracy, but these are all facts. Okay, here it is. The Eurasia Group is a highly respected consultancy that provides political risk assessment for the business world. It's run by Ian Bremmer, who broadcasts his idea on G0 World. With Ian Bremmer. Eurasia has become the landing spot for Canadian Liberals, including Gerald Butts, who previously advised Trudeau and currently advises Mark Carney. Evan Solomon, a former CBC reporter and current Carney candidate, is also employed by the group. So they weren't having dealings together, but no, they're a part of the board. He's hired him. He's employed by the group. He's a publisher. So why does this matter? It's relevant only because of the ideological alignment of Eurasia Group with Carney's crusade for net zero. You'll recognize many familiar Canadian faces in this net zero Eurasia post. Climate Barbie, I don't know if you guys remember Catherine McKenna. She used to be the environmental minister. They called her Climate Barbie. Catherine Hayhoe, which I don't know who she is. Diana Carney, so Mark Carney's wife. Gerald Butts. I don't know who Lucas Jopa is. The Eurasia Group, G0 Media, demonstrates strong support of the concept of net zero. That's fine for a politically unaligned organization. But what are the implications when that ideology is applied to G7 government? In order to achieve net zero, Canada must keep its oil and gas in the ground. This means a freeze on exploration and pipeline. That's what happened over the last decades, and that's what will continue to happen if Carney is elected. Yes, Brenda said she made billions disappear. Climate Barbie. Firecracker, I don't know why your sound's not working. Like, can you hear me talk, or is it just when I have videos? Everyone else, it's working. Still no sound. He's going to switch over to Facebook. I'll let you guys know what he comments on Facebook so everyone on YouTube can know what he's saying. At an estimated 10% of Canadian GDP, oil and gas represent an irreplaceable sector of our economy. We've seen a huge drop in our standard of living because the Liberals have strangled Canada's economic engine. The Eurasia Group is not part of a global conspiracy. It is, however, very influenced on Canadian Liberals' thoughts and policies, including net zero. So if you really believe Mark Carney is going to develop Canada's oil and gas sector, you haven't been paying attention. Here, let's play this video. Give me a sec. I got to change screens for that.
Our ultimate objectives, which is to get to net zero, such as moving towards a net zero economy, being part of this journey towards net zero. They're relentlessly, ruthlessly, absolutely focused on that transition to net zero. Our ultimate objectives, which is to get to net zero, such as...
We went through his his LinkedIn profile, it's all along the lines of him pushing for net zero and canceling our oil and gas. Sorry. I'm so like disappointed. I hadn't seen the results until I looked up 338. I am so disappointed in Canadians right now. Like I don't think I can use like the words to describe how disappointed I am and how much it makes me want to push for separation. It's not just that they're letting back the Liberals in, is they're letting in someone who completely wants to destroy our oil and gas industry. Like he wrote about this in his book. Like, where's the media? I'm pissed off at them. Where's the media? Why aren't they reporting what this guy believes in? Why aren't they asking him question? What are you going to do with our oil and gas industry? You said this in your book. Do you still believe in these things? Like, why aren't media doing their job? David says these TDS Canadians are going to regret their emotional reaction. You know what? Maybe this is what Canada deserves. Maybe Canada needs to actually see what's going to happen when these World Economic Forum, these UN Agenda Paris Accord people are pushing the ideology. Maybe Canada needs to see exactly what it means to support these people. Sharon says, I'm so disappointed in Canadians. Bunny Dirksen says, Carney wants to destroy Canada. He's finishing Trudeau's contract. Mighty Mouse says, separation is not an option. It's fundamental for survival. Like, imagine you're a big industry, a big business, and you've kind of settled in Canada. Like, imagine. And you see all of this coming. You're awake to who Carney is. You see all of this coming. And you have big decisions to make. Would you keep your business in Canada or would you move it to the US before Canada fully falls? Like, if Jonathan and I are considering moving like our assets, selling everything and potentially moving to the US, like how many more industries, capital, people with a lot of capital considering the same thing? Brenda says, I am becoming more in favor of separation and building our own business relationships with the US. When I see the voting pattern and the polls, I'm like, nope, I don't think I want to be a part of that. I don't want to be a part of a country that supports completely destroying our oil and gas industry. I don't want to be a part of a country with a government that thinks it's okay to be completely silent on the China tariffs when it's just completely going to decimate our farming. Like our farming industry in Canada. They've said nothing. Let's go have a look. Let's go have a look how much of a leader Carney is. Let's see what he said. Oh, I want to puke right now. Let's see. Nothing. I put China, nothing. Zero comes up. He has not mentioned a single thing about the China tariffs. Yeah. Rage in the cage. It's not just oil and gas. It's small business. It's agriculture. It's manufacturing in support of China. It's true. It's not like, and it's not just the oil and gas industry. If the oil and gas industry is shut down or make zero profit, that's money that doesn't go towards healthcare. That's money that doesn't go towards education. It affects the entirety of Saskatchewan, of Alberta. That's money that doesn't go towards the cost of roads. Like, people don't realize that a lot of the costs towards doing roads, construction and stuff in Saskatchewan is alleviated by some of the income coming in from oil and gas, which means your property tax will go way up if we don't have oil and gas subsidizing some of these projects, some of these things that I guess make it for us to have a way of life in Saskatchewan. I don't think people realize what level it's going to affect all of it. I fully believe that Mark Carney believes that the whole World Economic, I mean, he's a board member. He was a board member for the World Economic Forum, the same entity that pushes the Great Reset. You will own nothing and be happy. Like, do we honestly think for a second that this man's going to be good for this country? Like, what is wrong with people who are considering voting for this man? He's about as far left as it goes. Good luck owning property. It's going to get to a point where nobody's going to own anything. Why do I say that? It's not just like a conspiracy. Like, the World Economic Forum has been promoting that over and over and over again, and he's a board member. They've been promoting depopulating the earth. They support depopulation agendas. If you stop exploring our oil and gas industry, that means less food that's going to be to feed mouths of people who have no food around the world. Like, natural resources is what has made our society benefit and grow as a whole. We're going to go back to the dark ages unless you can counter it with nuclear, which I don't see that happening. They're also pushing against that. Okay, a lot of comments. Rory, even telling us we can't buy American liquor, it's just like COVID. They tell us what we can buy with our own money. We have been trained for this incoming dictatorship, and most are too blind to see it. Someone said in one of the comments of the show earlier how they're going to use this tariff war with the US to bring in the CBD, what's it called? The central bank digital currency? CBDC. Yeah, CBDC. It wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me one bit. Carney has talked about how he admires the social credit system of China. There was a video of that. Let's see if I can find it. Let's see if Grok can find it. Sorry, Grok doesn't do voice. Oh, weird. Grok gives 2 responses now. I'll do some digging and I'll see if I can find it. If somebody has seen it, send it to me. Many people have no idea about the WEF. No, they don't. Like, that should be like a huge expose done. Rage in the Cage says, David, isn't it interesting that the products tariffed by China are those they have been stockpiling? That is outrageous. Are you talking about the canola? A university study was done a few years ago that said if oil and gas was shut off completely, Canada's population would die off in less than a month. I'd like to see that. David says we have our annual auto show here in BC this weekend. They banned Tesla from the show. This is outrageous. Yes, they did. Give me a second. I'm gonna search. I did bookmark a few things and I realized I didn't bring them up because I was putting everything together so fast. I have a few things here.
We are coming after you. We
I don't
believe.
know if you guys can hear that. Copy link. I'll play a video. Where did it go? About it was a really interesting point. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of things. Maybe I should have saved it for tomorrow's episode and done a deep dive in it, but here. What I'll do, I'll play this video while you guys watch it. I'll search the other ones.
Jim,
Yeah, let's do that. I'll search for it up top while you guys watch this.
taking to the streets or the parking lots.
Tonight, the FBI and ATF now investigating multiple cases of possible arson targeting Teslas and Cybertrucks.
This dramatic video shows multiple cars in flames. Police say the attacker used Molotov cocktails. It's the latest in more than a dozen instances of arson and vandalism targeting Tesla.
The same suspect shot more Teslas with a gun. Tesla Cybertrucks were set on fire in Kansas City, and earlier this month, shots fired at a Tesla dealership in Oregon. Cybertrucks on fire in Seattle.
Wow, you guys like petty acts of domestic terrorism, huh? Jim, they're taking...
Isn't that insane? They're cheering that on. It is so insane. They're cheering that on. There's another video here.
Individuals out there. We are coming after you. We believe these are organized. These are not individuals out there throughout the country doing this on their own. They're targeting Tesla owners. They're targeting Tesla dealerships. They're targeting Elon Musk, who is out there trying to save our country, and it will not be tolerated. We are coming after you. We will find you. And if you are an organized group who is funding this, we're going to find you too. You better look out and you better stop it.
She said that, but there's another one that was really interesting that Elon Musk posted. But first I'm going to play this. I'm going to share this one. Give me 1 second. I've got to move the screen here. I'll switch to the other one. I want to share this one because it just explains so much what is going on, how it works. Elon attacks the swamp, so the swamp attacks him. The swamp activates media. The media activates the public. The Tesla street vandals are so stupid that they now really believe the absurd lie that Elon gave a Nazi salute. But why do they believe this? Because the media defends the swamp, because Democrat voters have been programmed for a decade to expect the rise of a fascist dictator, and Trump has been painted as such, and Elon his henchman. That's the new narrative. Elon was the darling of the Dems, an immigrant who produced electric vehicles to fight climate change. Rationally, they should love him, and they did. But these aren't rational people. The script was flipped, and they proceed as if they've stood steadfastly in opposition of Elon for as long as they can remember. That's not true, but that's irrelevant. There's nothing that you can't program these people to believe or to forget. That's what makes them dangerous. It's true. There was another post. I'm just going to find it quickly here. I bookmarked it that went over some of the people that have been damaging the vehicles. This one here. I'm going to go back here. People may not know this. 3 out of 4 of the people who have been arrested for vandalizing Tesla are trans or non-binary. So if you go back and look, Elon says, what are the statistics on trans violence? The probability of a trans person being violent appears to be vastly higher than non-trans. Hormone injection cause extreme emotional volatility. That is simply a fact. And then if you look at the data here, this is not necessarily just violence. This is sexual offense. I'm going to see if I can make it bigger. I can, but I can't share the screens. Incarcerated sex offenders, 103 out of 30.4 million women. So 103 out of 30.4 million women. So 3 per million sexually offend. Incarcerated sex offenders, 11,660 out of 29.3 million men. So 395 per million. Incarcerated sex offenders, 92 out of 48,000. So 1,916 per million. That's the data. So Elon Musk makes a good point. Now, does that mean that's relevant for these? I don't know. But it's an interesting fact. Sorry, there's a whole bunch of comments here. Yeah, his audience applaud. Isn't that sick? David asked, are you familiar with Deagle report, Nadine? Think tank reports out of the US government decades ago and reports a huge population collapse in 2025. No, I haven't heard of it. Can you send it to me, David? You've got my email. If you have it, like the report. Been trying for the last 5 years. Most are deer in the headlights. Why are the left who wanted battery cars attacking Tesla? Because they're being programmed to. Canola, coal, sulfur, lumber, maple syrup, wheat, sugar beets, and recycled products to be repurposed are all things China has been stockpiling for 15 years. Government is hiring them. I don't know who you're talking. Who's them? Reach his great stream. I have to get ready for mine. Mine's not going to be much longer. Brenda says, I guess if the people can be convinced to surgically alter their children are easy to manipulate. The report, yeah, Brenda, it would be a really interesting one to read. Rory said, I swear people have not been the same since the COVID isolation. We were engaged prime minister or premier daily. We were slowly being programmed to hide out in our homes and listening to the words of federal and provincial leaders as they spouted propaganda. Sorry. Most people to this day are still in that format. Whatever the news say, they are still taking it as the gospel. Just wait till people find out about the children. We need Jesus. We need Jesus to return. So this is another interesting thing too. It's funny to see they're going in that direction. I don't know who this Rob guy is. If Putin or Z or Modi did an interview on who they want to win a Canadian election and said, I want X to win, I think our reaction would almost unanimously be, that's weird. That's very inappropriate. Shut the F up, or some such. It's per se foreign interference. So this is what let's see who this guy is. He's from Toronto. But it's funny, he's constantly talking about American things. Yeah, and this is the funny thing. Then someone quote tweeted them. Obama endorses Trudeau in the Canadian election. Now that Trump has expressed a preference for Carney, the Liberals are concerned about foreign interference. It's unacceptable, they announce. And then Obama endorsing Trudeau in the Canadian election. They're fine with that. It's funny, they keep like pointing fingers at Pierre and saying he's doing American style politics while the Liberals had Hillary Clinton at their AGM. I agree. BJ Stewart says trans should be required to undergo counseling before undergoing surgical remedy. I think surgical remedies should be the last resort, in my opinion, especially since it's so damaging and it has so much risk factors associated with it. It should be the last resort. Okay, what else do I have here? I had tagged this one from Brian Lilly, but I think it's about where they think Mark Carney is going to run. Watch for Mark Carney to run in Toronto Elgin's riding in place of Mendocino. Still waiting to find out if Carney's friend and art dealer Evan Solomon will run in Toronto St. Paul. Evan didn't answer my emails asking about that after a poll was conducted. And now they've been announced. It's announced that he's running. That's why I had tagged it, because I had more stuff I was going to talk about with that. This is another interesting post. We have Elon who builds, innovates, and creates, and they have Soros who funds the destruction of our country. We are not the same. It's true. I think that's it. I think that's all I got. Let's see what else I had saved up here. I think that's it. Yeah. The other ones I already played. So yeah, it's a short episode. David sent the Deagle report. I'm going to have a look at it later today and maybe talk about it tomorrow. I'm going to try to get the show to be a little bit shorter, because if I do it shorter, then I can use 30 minutes to do small clips of the show, because it takes a lot of time to do that, more than 30 minutes. But I think if I keep it shorter, I'll have more time to do other things, although I have someone coming over this afternoon, a friend of mine. But yeah. Okay, I will see you guys tomorrow. I don't have a guest tomorrow. Clyde do something tonight? Yeah. Is it tonight, David? Clyde's having a guest here. I'm going to scroll back to the top. I kind of forgot about that because we hadn't started yet, I don't think. Clyde is having a UK man who specializes in brainwashing and is talking about the Team Canada mass psychosis as well tonight. Yeah, so if you're I'm going to probably watch it and I'll share it on my Facebook, not my Facebook, but yeah, probably kind of everywhere. And Wendy says thank you for coming every day. Love the show. I had so many like things that was happening earlier today, but hopefully I got an email. Maybe it'll be from Air Canada. I'm booking flights to Ottawa and hopefully hotels today to go to the Canada Strong and Free Network. It's April 9th to the 12th. So if you guys are going, so 9th to the 12th. So it's a Wednesday. I think it starts Wednesday evening, and then the 10th, 11, and 12. 12, there's like a training day. So I'll probably go till the 13th because I want to get all the training on the Saturday. They do this thing called best practices, and it talks about like campaigning and stuff and activism and stuff like that. And thanks, David. He says, thanks for your daily show. Well, thank you guys for coming on. It makes it more fun. Jonathan said, well, maybe you can just like do one day of recording and release episodes like throughout the week. So it's not so much work, and do like pre-recorded. And I said, but I hate doing just by myself. I want like people to comment and interact with. I find this so much more fun. It would be even more fun if it was in person. But where I could get to actually see you guys' faces, that would be like ideal. I like people, being around people, especially when they're good people. But yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. If you don't subscribe already, like, subscribe, share, do all those things. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow.